Let's now talk about the line tool. So for that, I'll directly go to the line tool and I'll select a plane, maybe front plane again. Now, if you start making your line tool, you will get a pretty random line. You can make it in any direction, kind of like this. I'll start with origin. I can click, click, and click to make my lines. Now it's as easy as that, and you can just click on as many points as you want to make your line. Now to exit out of this command, all you need to do is press escape key and the command will exit. And if you want to start your line again, go to line, and once again you'll have the line tool. Now there is also another workflow of repeating the commands. For that, I'll first delete it all. I'll make a window and I'll press delete key to delete it all. I'll now go to line tool. I'll start from origin and I'll make a couple of lines. Now I'm not going to press escape key, because if you want to repeat the same command, you don't need to press escape key. Simply double click your left mouse button. So just double click and the command will exit, and also the same command will start. So once again, I'm back in the line command. I can again start making my line. Now if you want to once again exit and start the same command, double click, and there we are. Now once again, I'll select it all and I'll delete it. Now I'll go to the line tool again, and this time let's look at the properties palette here. So on the property manager, we have several tools here related to the line command. Now what we have selected here is called as sketched in the orientation panel. So when you make anything, it will be made as you prepare this sketch. So it will just move it in any direction. But if we constrain it, so I'll go to line, and now if I change the orientation to horizontal, SolidWorks will now make line only in 0-degree direction, which means you'll only end up with horizontal lines. And after every line command, the command will exit. So you can make several horizontal lines, but you cannot make it in any other direction. No matter how high or how far you move away from that line, you'll still have the horizontal line. Now to exit out of this, click this green check mark, and then you'll move back to this property manager from where you can select the different orientations. So you can go to as sketched or maybe vertical. Now your lines will be vertical. So now you can only make vertical lines. Similarly, I'll again click here, and now I'll go to angle. And in this case, you can specify an angle and your line will remain restricted to that angle. So I'll type in 30 and I'll click, and look at this. Now we have lines exactly at the angle of 30 degrees. All right, I'll press escape to exit out of this, and I'll just delete it all. So I'll select it all, I'll delete it. This was not selected, so I'll just click on it and delete it. Let's go to line tool again. Now we have seen the orientation option. Let's go to options. Now in the options, we have the first option called for construction, and this will let you make lines basically which are construction geometries. So I'll select this checkbox and I'll make a line, and now you'll end up with this construction line. Now you can use these construction lines for center line of geometries, or maybe for circles and arcs, and you can also convert a simple line into construction line. So if you have a simple line, and I'll press escape key, and if you want to convert it into a construction line kind of like this, then you can select the line and go to the options here in the properties manager and click on this for construction checkbox, and your line will be converted to construction line. Now we also have another kind of line here. So I'll once again go to the line tool and I'll select the infinite line. Now this will let you make an infinite line, which is like this. So I'll click at a point, and now I have horizontal, vertical, or any inclined line that you can make. So I'll make a vertical one, and then I'm going to click here and I'll make a horizontal one. Now these are infinite lines. Once again, let's go back to this. And now we have the last option called midpoint line. Now this option will let you start your line from the midpoint. So I'll click on a point here, And if I move my cursor, look at this, the line will stretch in both the directions. So basically it will start from the midpoint and it will extend equally in both the directions. And well, that's how I can make the midpoint line. Now I'll delete all of these. So in this case, you can make a window to delete these, but what about this? You cannot make a window large enough to include it completely because, well, these are infinite lines. For this case, you can make a crossing window. Now, crossing window is this. When you click towards right and move your cursor towards left, you get this crossing window. Anything which touches the window will be selected. But in case of selection window, which we use to make, well, let me first make a couple of lines to explain that. So I'll press escape. Now the selection window is this. I'll click at a point and now I'll move my cursor towards right. And what I'm getting here is a selection window. Now everything inside the window will be selected. So as you can clearly see, these three lines are the only lines which are selected. This line, which is partially inside and partially outside the window, won't be selected. So that's the selection window. But in case of construction, I'll press escape key. I'll click at a point and I'll move towards left now. Now I'm getting a construction window. I'll make a similar kind of window where these three lines are completely inside. This one is partially inside and partially outside. Still, everything will be selected. Because in case of the crossing window, all the lines which are inside as well as on the boundary will be selected. So now I can select and press delete key. Now these tools, the construction line, the simple line and the midpoint line are also available directly on the line tool. So you can go to line tool and select the center line as well from here. So just expand the line tool, select center line, and now you have a center line tool here. You can also go to this and select the midpoint line. That's the midpoint line. So again, I'll just select it all and I'll delete it. Now finally, you can convert your line tool into arc very easily, kind of like this. So I'll start the line tool, I'll click at a point and I'll make a simple horizontal line. Now again, it will start the line obviously, but if you want to convert it into arc, all you need to do is go back to the same point, but don't click, just go back to this point and now move it out again. And this time what we have is an arc. Now, the way you move out this line will decide the type of arc which you will get. So in this case, I'll move this cursor back to this point and this time I'll start from this point and look at this. Now I'm getting arc in this direction. Again, I'll move here and now I'll start in this direction and the arc is here. If I move exactly here, what I'm getting is this. Now, if I move here, I'm getting a tangent arc. So depending on the direction, your arc will change. Once you've made your arc, it's back to the line tool. And that was all about creating lines in SolidWorks.